After failing to conquer the first 3 targets, I chose to get engaged to the paralyzed young lady of the Liu family. I exchanged all my points to let her stand again. But the very first thing she did after recovering was to cancel our engagement and hold a grand ocean wedding with Makoto. At the wedding, all 4 of my targets looked at Makoto with tender affection. Suddenly, I wanted to go home. So I turned and jumped straight into the sea. Yet, as my body plunged into the ocean, 4 figures leapt toward me at the same time, their faces full of regret and fear. Chapter 1. Not far away, on the cruise ship, Willow Liu, wearing a wedding dress, was happily kissing Makoto. Amid the cheers of the crowd, the mechanical voice of the system echoed in my mind. Host's conquest failed. In half a month, you will be forcibly erased. A bitter smile curved at the corner of my lips. After transmigrating into this body, the system had given me 4 targets to conquer. As long as any one of them reached 100% affection for me, my body in the original world, ravaged by a terminal illness, would be healed. 4 years, I worked hard to conquer them, lowering myself as much as possible. But every single time, just as their affection for me was about to reach full, it would reset to 0 because of Makoto's appearance. And now, even my last target was about to marry Makoto. With that thought, I resolutely walked toward the deck's edge and leapt into the sea. The seawater engulfed my body. I spread my arms wide, letting myself sink to the bottom. But just then, a figure dragged me back toward the surface. Fresh air rushed into my lungs, and before I could react, a heavy slap landed on my face. You chose to jump into the sea at Makoto's wedding. Are you deliberately trying to disgust all of us? I wiped the blood from the corner of my mouth, looking at the hatred in her eyes. A deep pain welled up inside me. My sister Sophia, she was also my first target in this world. After this body's parents died, Sophia and I relied on each other. When the car accident happened, I had shielded her without hesitation. Ending up with ruptured organs and in the ICU, she had held me, crying, swearing that no matter what happened, she would protect me. She said we were each other's only family in this world. But on the day I was discharged, I saw her bring Makoto into our home, saying from then on he was our brother. She let Makoto move into my room and watched as he cruelly killed the dog I had raised for 8 years. Every time Makoto and I quarreled, she always took his side, scolding me, the real brother, as petty and narrow-minded. The 97 affection points I had painstakingly built over 8 years, Makoto stole away in just a week. From then on, Sophia's affection for me plummeted, and she refused to even acknowledge me as her brother. Seeing me sit there dazed, Sophia pulled a bottle of heart medication from her bag and threw it in front of me. Going to pretend your heart hurts again? Take the pills and get lost. But I didn't have heart disease. The pain before had always been the system's punishment. Sophia, worried-eyed collapse, had always carried the pills with her. Now, I felt no warmth at all. I grabbed the bottle, poured out a handful of white tablets, and shoved them into my mouth. Sophia froze, then screamed and slapped my hand, forcing me to spit them out. She gripped my wrist tightly, her voice trembling. George, are you insane? I wasn't insane. I just wanted to go home, to say goodbye to my real sister. I stayed silent. Sophia glared at me. As more and more guests gathered to watch, she impatiently ordered the bodyguards to take me off the ship. Just as I stepped onto the deck, the sound of high heels rang out behind me. The next second, a sweet voice sounded. George, why are you here? Oh my, why are you all wet? I turned my head to see Willow, the woman I had almost married. My heart ached with bitterness. So, she still cared about me, didn't she? Chapter 2. The body that had been soaked by the icy seawater now felt a trace of warmth. I was just about to speak when Willow suddenly slapped me hard across the face. You think that by making yourself look this pathetic, I'll spare you another glance? Don't be ridiculous. You dared to disrupt my wedding. I will never let this slide. As she finished speaking, she grabbed my neck and dangled my upper body over the railing. The suffocating pressure wrapped around me, yet I didn't struggle at all. I thought, maybe dying like this wouldn't be so bad. So I closed my eyes, ready to calmly accept death. But Willow grew unsettled. Realizing my abnormal reaction, she suddenly took a step back, her expression full of shock. Why aren't you struggling? Why aren't you explaining yourself? Do you really want to die? Would she believe me even if I explained? I had explained countless times before, but each time she only thought I was making excuses, and each time, it only pushed her closer to Makoto. I let out a bitter laugh, my tone carrying the heaviness of death. I've already lost everything. I might as well just die. Willow's face instantly changed at my words. She grabbed my collar, her eyes seemingly shimmering with tears. Your life is mine, you're not allowed to die. When we first got engaged, her family disdained my status and demanded she cancel the engagement. To be with me, she endured countless punishments from her family, beaten until her body was covered with bruises, yet never yielding. When I found out, I went to the Liu family and took the punishment in her place, beaten nearly to death. I was held in her trembling arms as she made me promise that without her permission, I was never allowed to die. I raised my head to look at Willow, but before I could speak, a petite, cute girl rushed up to me. Alicia, my second target of conquest. She was also my best friend in this world. Without hesitation, she stepped on my face and threw a stack of photos at me. George, since you dared ruin Makoto's wedding, I have no reason to show you any mercy. In the photos, I was tied up and beaten like a dog, pinned beneath someone, stripped naked, my body carved with the word trash. These photos were all taken by Alicia herself. She had carefully chosen the angles, capturing my face clearly. She had done all this simply because I exposed Makoto's cheating in a photography contest, humiliating him in front of everyone. Amid the ridiculing laughter, Alicia coldly snapped photos of my miserable appearance. In a small corner of the camera was engraved a line of words, Alicia George. It was once a gift I had given her. Alicia had lost her mother at a young age, and her father often brought different women home, using them to torment Alicia for amusement. By chance, I had become her friend to protect her from being abused by the men her father brought back. I was beaten until I went temporarily blind. To comfort her, I gave her a camera, asking her to capture the beautiful sights I could not see. Even after my eyes healed, she kept the habit of taking photos. But later, I noticed Makoto's figure appeared more and more often in her camera. If you don't kneel and apologize to Makoto, I'll upload these photos of you online. Let's see how you dare show your face then. Seeing my silence, Alicia's voice suddenly turned ice cold. She yanked my collar roughly, hauling me up. Because of my weakened body, I collapsed to my knees with a cry of pain. Willow frowned, trying to help me up, but Alicia blocked her. Miss Liu, don't let yourself be fooled by his pitiful act. Back then, I trusted him too much, and Makoto has never been able to take photos since. George, to fight Makoto for the photography competition's championship, you brought in thugs to force him into obscene pictures and even slandered him for cheating. If I hadn't arrived in time, Makoto nearly wouldn't have been able to go on. Willow's gaze turned icy cold at her words. Get out. If you keep interfering with the wedding, everything Makoto has suffered will be returned to you, and I'll make sure you. Before she could finish, I staggered to my feet and rushed straight toward the road beside us. A truck barreled forward at high speed, but just as I closed my eyes, awaiting death, someone forcefully shoved me aside. Chapter 3. Willow, dragging her injured leg, rushed in front of me and yanked hard at my collar. George, who are you putting on this act of life and death for? Do you think this will make me soften? At that moment, the system's prompt rang out. Host, Willow's affection value is increasing. Do you wish to continue the conquest? I looked at Willow in shock, only to see her ordering her assistant to cancel the wedding. Sensing my gaze, she raised her head toward me. Calmly, I withdrew my eyes. No, right now, I just wanted to go home. When the driver sent me back, I discovered several abrasions on my body, caked with mud and blood, filthy all over. I was just about to disinfect the wounds when the door was suddenly kicked open. Alicia stormed in, furious, and kicked me hard in the stomach. Where did you take Makoto? If anything happens to him, I'll make sure you beg for death. Willow and Sophia rushed in right behind her, glaring at me with hostility. No wonder you keep putting on these suicide shows. It's all just a cover for your crime. Let me tell you, if anything happens to Makoto, I'll make sure you pay with your life. But how would I know where he had gone to hide again? Still, their words gave me a sudden realization. If they all cared for Makoto this much, maybe they really would lose their minds over his disappearance, and then kill me. Seeing my silence, Willow's eyes flickered with hatred. Looks like if we don't give you a taste of pain, you won't open your mouth. She grabbed a bottle of alcohol from the side and poured it directly onto my wounds. The searing sting tore through me, sweat instantly soaking my body. But they weren't finished. Bodyguards pressed me down. Alicia picked up hot iron tongs, while Willow continued pouring alcohol onto my injuries. I panicked completely. I did want to die, but I didn't want to be tortured to death. I struggled desperately, when suddenly a wooden stick struck the back of my head. Warm blood trickled down my forehead as my body trembled, too weak even to scream. Just kill me already. Seeing my stubbornness, Willow gripped a fruit knife and stepped toward me. The cold glint of the blade hovered less than a centimeter from my left eye. You think this will make us pity you? I'll ask you one last time, where is Makoto? My face pale, I tilted my head back and forced out a triumphant smile. Makoto, I killed him. His corpse, I threw it into the sea for the sharks. Don't you all love him? Didn't you all want to marry him? But your wish will never come true. Come on then, kill me, avenge him. Enraged, Willow's eyes turned scarlet as she drove the blade straight into my heart. My body collapsed to the ground, and just as my consciousness was slipping away, I heard Makoto's voice in the courtyard. Why is everyone here? Oh, perfect timing. I bought some pastries. Ah, why is there so much blood here? Chapter 4. The sudden sound made Willow's hand slip by an inch, and once again, I failed to die. When I woke up in the hospital, the light in my eyes had completely faded. Am I really left with nothing but waiting to be erased? In my original world, I still had so many family members and friends. I still wanted to see them one last time. I quietly climbed up to the hospital rooftop, but when I looked down at the bustling crowd below, I eventually backed away. Just as I turned to find another place, I saw someone standing behind me. Jump. Why didn't you? Is it because you're afraid? Or did you never intend to in the first place? Maria's eyes carried thick ridicule. She was my third conquered target, and once, she had even been my pursuer. Her family was wealthy, but she had parents who valued sons over daughters. Her parents were determined to use her in a political marriage to gain more benefits for her younger brother. When she was forced to marry a middle-aged man and lost hope, attempting to jump off a building, it was me who saved her. From that day on, a little shadow followed me everywhere. Under her relentless pursuit, the defenses in my heart were slowly broken down. To help her escape her parents' forced marriage, I traded billions worth of research in exchange for her right to freely love. But that very night, on her way to our meeting, she accidentally hit Makoto with her car. While taking care of Makoto, her heart gradually shifted, and she never again mentioned being with me. My conquest failed once again. I thought that would be the end of it, but unexpectedly, when Maria caught Makoto cheating, he threw the blame onto me. Afterward, he vanished without a trace, and I was left to endure Maria's wrath. Over the years, she targeted me at every turn, even trying several times to send men and women with dirty diseases into my bed. I tried to step past her and leave, but she grabbed my arm and dragged me to the edge of the rooftop. Half my body dangled over the void as she pressed me down with all her strength, hatred flickering madly in her eyes. Someone like you should have died long ago. If it weren't for you, how would Makoto have been disgraced? And how would we have been forced apart? At that moment, Sophia and the others rushed onto the rooftop. Seeing Maria's actions, both Sophia and Alicia's eyes flickered with faint worry. Noticing that they seemed to want to speak up for me, Makoto immediately stepped forward. Maria, the past is behind us. I don't blame George. Everything he's done lately was just to get your attention. I can understand that. George, I don't know what I did to offend you, to make you hate me so much that you compete with me for everything. But today, I apologize here and now. I hope you'll stop causing trouble. I don't want to see them so exhausted because of you. As Makoto spoke, he bowed to me. While I was still bewildered, he secretly grabbed my hand and leaned his body forcefully toward the edge of the rooftop. Makoto. As Makoto teetered off the roof, 4 voices cried out at once. In her panic, Maria shoved me away with all her strength. As I was pushed beyond the railing, I calmly closed my eyes. Was I finally able to leave? Hopefully, I wouldn't crush any innocent people on the way down. Makoto was caught by the 4 of them while I fell from the rooftop. Chapter 5. The sensation of weightlessness came, yet I did not die. When Maria and the others came down from the rooftop, I was truly being helped up from the safety cushion by firefighters. We received a call half an hour ago saying someone was going to jump here. Luckily, we made it in time. Hearing the firefighters' words of relief, Maria's cold gaze fell directly on me. Makoto also looked at me with feigned surprise. George, so you had already called the firefighters in advance. No wonder you dared to jump. I thought you pushed me just now because you wanted to kill me, but it seems you only meant to scare me, right? But you should know, back in the day, when you had people beat me and rupture my eardrum, a fall from this height could very well leave me completely deaf. Makoto's face carried lingering fear and grievance, his eyes reddening as he looked at Willow. I'm not afraid of death, it's just that I can't let go of you. But George loves you so much. Even if I really died, I believe he would still take good care of you. Willow rushed forward and hugged him tightly, then immediately turned her venomous gaze toward me. George, if anything truly happens to Makoto, I will never forgive you. With that, she rushed forward and kicked me hard in the leg. Those 2 legs of mine, withered for so many years yet restored to normal now, buckled again under her kick, and I half knelt on the ground. I looked up at Willow, who stood before Makoto with a stony face, but when I cured her legs, she clearly said that the person she would protect for a lifetime was me. Her legs had been paralyzed in a car accident, and she became the abandoned child of the Liu family. Back then, when we entered into a political marriage, for the first time, there was light in her eyes. She told me I would be the only one she would ever love in this life. Yet after only 3 days of knowing Makoto, her heart had already changed. Willow brought me back to the Liu family, where the 4 women looked at me with different expressions. Willow directly played a video in front of me. George, if you hadn't fled the accident that year, if you had sent me to the hospital in time, I would never have been paralyzed and mocked for so many years. When Makoto gave me this video, he repeatedly begged me not to hold you accountable. He even went so far as to kneel before me to protect you, yet you repeatedly tried to harm him. Maria and the other two already hated me to the bone because Makoto had once been forced to leave. After hearing this, their gazes stabbed into me like knives. The faint softness and concern Sophia and Alicia once had for me completely disappeared. This car belongs to the Wong family. You should find it familiar, right? Willow sneered as she paused the video. Even though the license plate was covered, the unique decorations on it allowed me to immediately recognize it as the car Sophia once gifted me. But that car had been taken away by Makoto not long after it came into my possession. Yes, the car was indeed a gift from Sophia, but I never got the chance to drive it. Makoto asked for it right away. As soon as my words fell, all eyes turned toward Makoto. His expression had already changed when Willow produced the video, and now his face was pale. Willow, I did drive that car, which is why I recognized the video at first glance. But on the day of the incident, it really wasn't me behind the wheel. George, it must have been you secretly taking the car out that day. I let out a cold laugh and carried the video over to Sophia. They don't know, but you should be very clear, I was in Northwest condition to drive that car at all, was I? Perhaps realizing that I truly wanted to die, Sophia bit down on her lips tightly. Under the others' puzzled gazes, she slowly nodded. On the day of the accident, it truly wasn't George who drove the car. Chapter 6. One by one, astonished gazes instantly shifted toward Makoto. Other than Sophia and me, the only one who could have taken that car was Makoto. Makoto stared at me in silence for a long while, then suddenly laughed. Since George says I drove the car, then let it be me. Willow, even if I wasn't the one who caused your legs to be crippled, I'm willing to make it up to you. He rushed straight into the kitchen, grabbed a fruit knife, and stabbed viciously into his own leg. 4 figures flashed before my eyes as blood sprayed everywhere. Willow and the others had chosen to catch the fruit knife with their bare hands. Looking at the cuts carved into their palms, Makoto's tears streamed down. Was it worth hurting yourselves for me? You 4 are the most important people to me. I don't want you to hate me. As long as I can prove my innocence, I'd be willing to lose both legs. Willow, that day, it truly wasn't me who drove the car. Ignoring her own wound, Willow pulled Makoto tightly into her arms. Makoto, how could I not believe you? Please, don't do anything foolish. If something happened to you, I wouldn't want to live either. Makoto's gaze fell on me. But as long as I live, George will keep causing trouble to get your attention. After all, he and I share the same father. I don't want him to come to harm. Upon hearing that, Willow picked up the knife from the ground and walked toward me. You wanted to die, right? Then I'll grant you your wish. But do you dare? Everything you've done was just to attract our attention, to make us hate Makoto. The fact that you crippled my legs, I could choose not to pursue that. But I won't allow you to hurt Makoto again. The fruit knife glinted coldly, and I took it without hesitation, plunging it toward my own heart. But the moment it touched my body, a powerful rejection forced it away. It was the system stopping me. I didn't know its intention, so I could only slash open my wrist with the knife. Blood gushed out. Sophia staggered to my side, her eyes red with panic. She tried to stop the bleeding, but Willow and Maria held her back. Sophia, if he really wanted to die, he wouldn't have just cut his wrist. This is nothing more than a trick to make us pity him. Maria sneered as well. Let's make a bet. If we ignore him for a few minutes, he'll probably run to the hospital himself. After all, before he jumped, he made sure to call the firefighters first. As my consciousness grew faint, Makoto's face showed a smug smile. Congratulations, host. Sophia's affection for you has reached 50%. Reward, 500 points. Would you like me to exchange them for clear evidence of the car accident? Yes. My awareness sank completely into darkness. When I opened my eyes again, the first thing I saw was a face filled with worry. It was Sophia. Her gaze was complicated, tinged with guilt and regret. I know it wasn't you driving that day. Of course, to stop me from competing with Makoto for the car, she had already confiscated my driver's license long ago. And to get to that road, one had to pass through a checkpoint that required a driver's license. If I had been the one driving, I could never have made it through. But years ago, for Maria, you framed Makoto into sleeping with someone else, ruining his reputation. That's a debt you owe him. So I hope you won't expose him. From now on, you and Makoto are both my brothers. I won't neglect you anymore. Sophia's affection for you has reached 60%. Would you like to continue restarting the conquest mission? I can help you. Chapter 7. No need. Even a system without feelings could bend the rules for me. Yet these women, for whom I gave my heart, not a single one was willing to believe me. I no longer wanted to see these people. Even if it meant death, I wasn't willing to keep sacrificing for them. I will expose him and see him ruined. I sneered coldly at Sophia as I spoke. Her face grew even paler, and a trace of pleading appeared in her eyes. Why? Our parents are already gone. In this world, aside from the two of us, Makoto is the only family left. Do you really want to drive him to death? Family? If Mom died because of him, would you still call him family? Sophia froze, her body stiffening. shaking her head in disbelief. No, impossible. Makoto is so kind. He would never do such a thing. Yes, he was Dad's illegitimate son, but that was just an accident. He never wanted to be born with that identity. While Sophia tried to defend him, I directly sent a video to her email. I had spent 500 points to obtain the truth of Willow's car accident, and this was the system's bonus gift. In the video, a young Makoto sat beside a woman, his gaze full of venom as he looked at Mom, who was happily playing with Sophia and me. If only she died, then my mom could be with Dad, and I could become the young master of the Wong family. After that, he lured a few kids with burgers to trick Sophia and me away from the amusement park. While Mom desperately searched for us, Makoto suddenly appeared and led her to the edge of a deep pond. Auntie, I just saw that brother and sister fall in here. As Mom anxiously called our names, he suddenly threw a stick under her feet. She stumbled over it and fell straight into the pond. The evidence wasn't only the amusement park surveillance footage, it also included the images of me. Over 5 years, tortured by pain, living and dying alone. Sophia's face turned pale as she lifted her head, unable to say a word, because she knew, when I was alone, I didn't need to act, which meant my suffering had been real. This was the price for restoring your health. Since it wasn't a real illness, the hospital could never detect it. She opened her mouth and rasped out my name. George, you. Makoto said you were a conqueror, that everything you did for me was only because of a mission. He also said it was the system that cured my illness, that you didn't really have to sacrifice anything. So why do you believe everything he says? Yet not a single word from me. I cut Sophia off with a cold laugh. Yes, I was a conqueror, but many of the things I did for her were also because she was my sister, and I genuinely wanted to help her. George, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm sorry, truly sorry. Sophia wept uncontrollably, apologizing again and again, but now, her words held no meaning for me. Exhausted, I got up and went to the kitchen, only to find that all the sharp objects had been hidden away, and the doors and windows had been reinforced with bars. Did they really think that would stop me? I filled a bathtub with water, ready to sink into it, but before I could, Alicia burst in and pulled me out. You can't die, not until you've repaid what you owe Makoto. Her face was dark, but the system chimed in. Alicia's affection for you has reached 20%. Reward, 200 points. You may exchange them for a truth video. I exchanged the points and immediately forwarded the video to Alicia's phone. As long as I didn't restart the mission, death was inevitable anyway. So before leaving, I had to clear my name. Alicia glanced at her phone with annoyance. What now? Another attempt to frame Makoto. Aren't you tired of faking this nonsense? But when she opened the video, her eyes suddenly widened. Chapter 8. Her professional training made it easy for her to recognize that the video was genuine. In the footage, while I shielded Alicia from her father's brutal beating, Makoto was standing right beside Alicia's father's new girlfriend, Lisa. If you want to deal with Alicia, you first have to get rid of George, the obstacle. I have a way to make Alicia and George completely break apart. Makoto had hired a few thugs with twisted fetishes to try to humiliate me, but when they came to abduct their target, Alicia happened to be running over to deliver a camera to Makoto, and in the confusion, they kidnapped him instead. Alicia's eyes widened as she looked at Makoto, clearly unable to believe he would do such a thing. The video continued. The second part showed Makoto cheating at a photography competition. Not only that, he had also planned to destroy Alicia's entry so she would lose her chance to get into a top university, leaving her at the mercy of her father's control for the rest of her life. In order to protect Alicia's work, I endured a savage beating from Makoto's hired men, suffering broken bones. Yet I still refused to release the USB drive in my hand. Sophia, who had been standing to the side, gasped and covered her mouth in shock. You mean, you were that badly injured back then just to protect Alicia's work? Alicia turned to Sophia, dumbfounded. Sophia, when I asked you before whether George had ever been injured, didn't you tell me no? Sophia lowered her head guiltily. George begged me not to tell you, and Makoto also said that George had done something unforgivable to you, and that was why he was beaten so badly. He begged me to keep it from you. Alicia staggered back, her beautiful eyes misting with tears as she fixed her gaze on Makoto. How could this be? You told me it was George who framed you for cheating, that when you tried to stop him, he attacked you and left you gravely wounded. You said he only pretended to be injured afterward to trick me. Seeing the guilty look in Makoto's eyes, Alicia turned toward me in anguish. I'm sorry, George. So the one who's been deceiving me all along was him. Makoto told me he was often beaten by his stepfather and constantly bullied. I felt his suffering and wanted to protect him, but I never imagined. You never imagined that all of it was just a carefully fabricated lie. I let out a faint laugh, though my eyes were already lifeless. Alicia nodded through her tears. Just as she was about to say something more to me, Maria glanced at her phone, and her expression changed drastically. George, are these photos something you sent Do you really want to destroy Makoto? Online. Photos had suddenly begun circulating, images of Makoto being caught in bed with someone years ago. The woman in the pictures had her face hidden by her hair, making her identity unclear. Because of this, Maria had always believed that the woman was someone I had deliberately arranged to frame Makoto. Makoto suddenly dropped to his knees before me, tears streaming down his face. I know you hate me. Do whatever you want to me, but I am Willow's husband now. I don't want her reputation ruined because of me. George, what will it take for you to let me go? Willow and Maria hurriedly helped him up, distressed. Makoto, we will help you prove your innocence. You don't need to beg him. George, don't forget your hit-and-run case. If I call the police, you'll be sent to prison. This time, before I could speak, Sophia and Alicia stepped in front of me. George would never do such a thing. I can prove he wasn't the one driving the car. I believe in George too. I won't allow you to harm him. Host. Sophia and Alicia's affection levels have both reached 90%. Are you sure you don't want to restart the mission? No. Are the remaining points enough to exchange for all the truth videos? After receiving the system's confirmation, I decisively exchanged them. Soon, both Willow and Maria received emails. Maria curiously opened hers, and in the next instant, her face turned ashen. Chapter 9. This rear-end accident you staged was really clever. I heard Maria is already head over heels for you. So when will you make your move? Don't tell me you've actually fallen for that woman. As the woman finished speaking, Makoto pulled her into his arms. How could that be? The only one I love is you. The only reason I got close to her was to help you obtain their company's secrets, so you can completely defeat your sister and become the heir. I heard she had been pursuing another man named George before. How did you manage to make her change her heart so quickly? Makoto let out a scornful snort. A woman starved of love like her was easy prey. I lied and told her I had lingering effects from a car accident, and she started taking care of me in the hospital. Then I added that George kept targeting me because of her. To my surprise, she actually believed it. At this, both Sophia and Alicia turned pale, because for Maria to believe Makoto so easily, it had taken their help as well. Faced with their guilty looks, I showed no reaction. And after you succeed, how do you plan to get rid of her? The woman's tone carried a hint of jealousy, and Makoto quickly tried to coax her. That's simple. Her parents have always wanted to use her in a marriage alliance. I'll just hand her over to some filthy old man. Once she's tainted, how could she have the face to stay with me? By then, all I need to do is push the blame onto George, and I'll walk away untouched. Maria's expression grew uglier by the second. As Makoto saw things falling apart and tried to defend himself, the second video began to play. Such bad luck. She happened to catch us together. But don't worry, I already told her it was George who set me up. She trusts me completely. As long as I act heartbroken and leave for now, she and those two stupid women will definitely go after George. Once everything calms down, I'll come back. Fortunately, your face wasn't caught on camera. That way, I can just claim you were some random woman George found. If they ever discovered who you really were, that would have been trouble. Maria's fists clenched tighter, her gaze locked on Makoto. Back then, the incident had been full of suspicious points, but because she trusted him, she had never investigated further. It's not like that. This video must be fake. Maria, I was framed. Just as he started to explain, Willow opened another video. That familiar woman's voice rang out once more. Before you go abroad, help me with one more thing. When you return, I'll marry you. My sister has been standing out more and more lately, and father values her increasingly. She has a hobby of hiking, and this weekend she'll be going again. That road has no surveillance and hardly anyone passes by. I want her disqualified from inheriting the family. Do whatever it takes. The screen shifted, and the woman's face finally appeared. Seeing that familiar face, Willow's mouth fell open in shock. Freya. The woman with Makoto was none other than Willow's sister. Freya, I've already wrecked Willow's car. Even if she doesn't die, she'll be crippled. Don't worry, no one will trace it back to me. Even if they do, someone else will take the blame. After all, the car I drove was the one Sophia gave to George. With trembling fingers, Willow opened an email she had received just days ago. The attached video was of the accident scene, showing Makoto's face clearly. After he returned to the country, Freya had been expelled from the Liu family for angering the patriarch, and Makoto immediately took the chance to approach Willow. Four furious gazes fell on Makoto at the same time, and his face turned deathly pale as he shook his head. Chapter 10. Please believe me, the video must be fake. George is just trying to drive a wedge between us. Willow, how could I ever hurt you? Just as he was about to continue his lies, a disheveled woman suddenly appeared behind him. Makoto, that's not what you said to me back then. Willow, Maria, though I despise you both, I can prove everything in that video is real. With Freya's testimony, the truth was completely revealed, and the false accusations against me were finally washed away. By now, only one day remained of the half-month deadline. thinking of how I would never again see my family and friends in the other world. My tears could no longer be held back. When blood gushed from my mouth, Willow and the others rushed forward to catch me. "George, we'll take you to the hospital right now. We won't let anything happen to you." But as I pushed them away, calmly prepared to face death, several familiar figures came running toward me. It was my mother, my sister, and my friend from the other world. "Host, new conquest targets have appeared. Do you wish to restart the mission?" "Yes." I forced the word out with the last of my strength. In the next instant, my vision cleared, and all the pain vanished. "Congratulations. Host, 3 conquest targets' affection has reached 100%. Preparing to return you to your original world. George, please wake up. My affection for you has already reached 100%. Why isn't it working?" "George, if once isn't enough, then twice. Even if it costs me my life as your sister, I'll bring you back. George, you promised to be my best friend forever. How can you break your word?" Hearing those familiar voices, I struggled to open my eyes. "Mom, sister, Anna. I'm back." A month after returning home, my body was fully healed. At the same time, the system's voice echoed once more in my mind. "Congratulations, host. You have completed the mission. Soon I will depart. Before I go, I will leave you with something." A series of images unfolded before me. After my death in that world, Sophia sold everything she owned in an attempt to resurrect me. But in the end, she was left with nothing. And I never returned. Because of my absence, the things I once gave her were stripped away. Sophia was once again caught in a car accident. This time, with no one to shield her. She could only endure the excruciating agony of her organs tearing apart. The after-effects of the crash left her in constant torment, wishing for death. Alicia was locked away in that dark basement by her father, clutching the camera I had given her. With my departure, the beatings from her father and those women returned to her life once more. Day after day, she lived in misery. And this time, there was no one left to stand in her way. Chapter 11. After Maria's company lost my research, it plummeted overnight. In order to keep the company afloat, her parents set their sights on her, forcing her into the arms of different CEOs in exchange for funding. The once proud and arrogant Maria fell from the clouds into the mud. Countless nights, she woke up screaming from nightmares, endlessly calling my name, hoping I would appear. As for Willow, after my departure, her legs quickly relapsed into disability. Even after seeking out many renowned doctors, every one of them told her there was no hope of ever standing again. The shareholders who once supported her all turned to Freya, losing everything. Willow suffered harsher oppression than ever before, so much so that even having enough food became a problem. Months later, the 4 women finally found an opportunity to gather together again. They captured Makoto, locked him in a basement, and inflicted upon him every torment I had once endured. By the time Makoto was left on the verge of death, the 4 of them knelt on the ground in agony, clutching my old photographs, crying uncontrollably. "George, sister knows she was wrong. Please come back. I only have you left in this world." As Sophia finished speaking, she spat several mouthfuls of black blood, her life force quickly fading. Alicia held the paper airplane we had made together as children, her eyes swollen red from crying. "George, didn't we promise to be friends forever? But I broke that promise, and I lost you." Each word she spoke tugged at her broken bones, the pain draining her face of color. Maria's skin was bruised blue and purple all over. Stripped of her usefulness, she had already been cast out of her family and could only survive by selling herself. "George, I've been dragging on like this, barely alive, just to see you one more time. Please, I beg you, come back." The engagement ring between Willow and me slipped from her hand. She tumbled from her wheelchair, crawling desperately to seize it. "George, we'll get married, won't we? I'll always be waiting for you." Her legs had withered into nothing more than bone-thin sticks, terrifying to behold. The images ended there. I let out a sigh and turned with a smile toward my mother and sister, who had just finished cooking. "Look what I brought home for you." "Where's Anna? She loves Mom's cooking the most." From behind came the sound of light, skipping footsteps. Anna entered, cradling a big cake in her arms. "Of course I went to get you a birthday cake. It was so hard carrying such a big one back. Look, it's your favorite flavor." We all remembered clearly. Amidst laughter and cheer, I blew out the candles and made a new birthday wish. I wished for my family and friends to live safe and peaceful lives. As for those people from the other world, from this day forward, they would disappear completely from my memory.